Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunushumme, washmale. Ohai Gonzaimas, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho gracias, swabia, bhalli kare, hosh galdin, and ayo sayo, khuya mora, and adab. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning into PTV World. You're certainly watching World this morning alongside my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Haja Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. And first things first, Jummah Mubarak to each and every one of you. And second things second. Hello, Haja. How are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Shahzad, for introducing me. I really love the way you said adab. You know?
Adab.
That represents some Mughaliya Daur ke, what do you call that? The adab or adab.
I think it's just in our blood. It's just in our blood. You know, people within the subcontinent, especially, you know, when you were raised by, you know, the entire family calling you a Rajput. And I think that it just stays in the blood. Not that I literally believe in this ethnicity and all of that. But obviously, that's our identity, and we really need to back it up. And even if we were Sikhs back in the time, it does not really matter. We are Muslims now. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So, Shahzad, there's a lot of brouhaha, especially there's a new docu-series coming on the Netflix in which the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry will be there. And we don't really know what they will be talking about there. But so they're in America, right? And the Catherine and the William, they're also in the America right now. And there's a lot of discussion going on the Western media about the timing of the release of that docu-series trailer. And that is something very interesting brewing up there.
Yeah.
And especially, have you seen The Crown season 5?
I haven't. I mean, there's been a lot of controversy around Humayun Saeed, and I mean, we certainly cannot speak about it on television, but there's quite a lot. I mean, a lot of people have given me a lot of very amazing feedback that you really need to watch The Crown. I mean, how many seasons are out now?
It's the 5th season, which is running right now.
It's the 5th season, so you really need to start from the beginning. So you better decide for yourself whether you have that much time on your watch. And if you do, please make sure that you watch it. I mean, why would we want to watch a series and that too about somebody else? I would rather want to see Arturul. You know, people, they might not have even seen or watched Arturul. There are 500 or more episodes than Usman. You know, there.
So have you watched Arturul?
I've dubbed Arturul. You know, so imagine.
Oh, wonderful!
Yes. So
I never knew that.
Arturul, so obviously I had to watch each and every episode anyways, and then you know I've been watching it over and over again just to think whether my dubbing was right or not.
Oh, wonderful. I never knew that. But I guess Crown is relatable to us because obviously we were colonized by them. And
we need to get out of there now.
Obviously, we need to get out. That's very wonderfully said that. And also, there's a lot of debate in England too about this archaic institution of the crown, because they feel that the crown is something they associate with the slavery, with the colonialism, and that was the darker side of the British monarchy there. But then again, it's a very, institution that is a very superficial. I mean, they do not have the very vested power. It's with the constitution out there, with the prime minister out there.
But the other day, I saw this documentary. It was on YouTube, and it was about their first ever royal who actually earned a flying license, you know, a plane license as well. And so he had a very lucrative life to himself, and then he went on to Japan, because what happens is that, you know, when you are a family, when you are in the royal family, you really need to go and serve in the military. But he picked up on foreign diplomacy, and he went on to Japan, and then, you know, so there was a very different turn of things over there. So, you know, if you guys are interested, please make sure that you watch it too. It's available on YouTube. I think that's a lot of content. But on Friday, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure, just like any other day, you do a lot of zikr, and that's something which is very important. But Hajar, I have a very important question.
Right.
That important question is, how do you think that conduct of any person is really important in their upbringing, you know, making sure that, you know, that they're going to be risen in a way that everybody out there is going to be kind of very happy with my tongue, my hands, you know, when they meet me, when they see me. How important do you think it is?
I think it is extremely important. Thank you so much for raising that question. And especially at the time when we have social media and where people feel that they have the power to write anything they want. And of course, when you talked about being more accountable in what you do and what you speak out there, I think that sort of institution or adab, they are eroding in the time of social media, because anyone can write anything without thinking about the consequences, without making sure that are they following the adab or adab which Islam has taught us. And thank you so much for raising that point. And of course, we will talk more about the civility in the debate. But now moving on to our top stories, which is about the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif congratulates all the concerned for successful climate diplomacy. Prime Minister says the establishment of the Loss and Damage Fund is now a reality. Addressing a ceremony organized in Islamabad to pay tributes to all the stakeholders, including international partners for successful climate diplomacy at Sharm el-Sheikh Climate Summit. He thanked all those for making world realize what has happened to us. He appreciated the efforts of Information Minister, Foreign Minister, Climate Change Minister, and they are praiseworthy, and philanthropists also contributed instantly to help affect the affected people. So Shahzad, our commitment towards this entire narrative of the climate change can be gauged by the fact that the Prime Minister himself went to Sharm el-Sheikh conference, and he also had the Vice Presidency in his name out there. This shows our country's commitment to do more to mitigate the climate change. I mean, how much the developed world or the developed nations are serious about it. This is something that we will see in the coming days, because obviously carbon colonialism, the reeks of them, and we need to do more.
And obviously, you know, we really need to applaud the dedication of the government as well, which is being spearheaded by our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Mohammed Shahbaz Sharif Saab as well. And I think this will set the tone for the future leadership as well, you know, whatever may happen, whichever party might come, you know, we really need to have that point of interest in front of us so that we could actually curb this menace. But now moving on to another news, because this menace, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately is only existing in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and in the major pockets we do know that, you know, that we have curtailed it, you know, it's somewhat close to zero as well. So we really need to talk about it, because Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif said polio has been eradicated from most parts of the country except certain pockets which are being targeted through period vaccination campaigns. Shahbaz Sharif, in a meeting with a delegation of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, has reassured unwavering support and commitment to eradicate polio from Pakistan, which is very reassuring, and more in this report.
Poliomyelitis, commonly known as polio, is a highly infectious viral disease which mainly affects young children. The polio virus is transmitted by person to person and is spread mainly through the fecal-oral route, or less frequently by a common vehicle such as contaminated water or food. Thereafter, the poliovirus multiplies in the intestines, from where it can invade the nervous system and cause paralysis. Pakistan and Afghanistan are the only two countries left in the world where the poliovirus continues to threaten the health and well-being of children. Since 1994, the Pakistan Polio Eradication Program has been fighting to end poliovirus transmission in Pakistan. Through its efforts, case numbers have declined up to 99%.
Progress that Pakistan has made in the fight against polio. I came to Pakistan to thank them for that good work. The polio resources helped them with COVID, and now they're taking those resources and reapplying them to great polio campaigns. We have very few cases now. In fact, over the next couple of years, we have every chance of bringing it to zero.
The third Subnational Immunization Days, SNIDs, campaign of the year 2022 launched to vaccinate 13.5 million children under the age of 5 in 36 districts in Pakistan. The campaign will start from 28th of November across the country, involving 9 districts of Punjab, 8 districts of Sindh, 6 districts of Balochistan and Islamabad. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the campaign will be launched on 5th of December, targeting 9 high-risk districts of the region. Over 100,000 trained and dedicated Sehat Muhafiz will be engaged in the vaccination drive to inoculate the targeted children at their doorsteps. The Sehat Tahaffuz helpline 1166 and 24/7 WhatsApp helpline 0346 777 6546 are available to assist parents and caregivers in reporting missing children. Repeated polio vaccination campaigns are imperative for building immunity among children and preventing possible death or lifelong paralysis. Federal Minister for National Health Abdul Qadir Patel has made great strides in fighting against polio, resulting in viral virus circulation reduced to only one small part of the country. National Emergency Operations Centre has also emphasised that the anti-polio campaign required collective action at all levels to eradicate the polio virus from the country completely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so please make sure that you keep the helpline right somewhere where you can, God forbid, if you need to get in touch, you can get in touch as well. And whenever, ladies and gentlemen, our people come to your doorstep to make sure to give your children the polio vaccine, please take it as if you are protecting the future of our children, of our future generations. That's something really very important. And in terms of conduct, where I said that how important it is, please make sure that, whenever we have a polio worker outside our place, if it's hot or if it's cold, please make sure that you ask them a glass of water, ask them a cup of tea. Please make sure that you show them that hospitality, because they've been there for your kids. So please make sure that you are there for them as well, because they've been on the roads. You never know for how long. Make sure that you ask them, give them a seat, let them sit down, and bring your children as quickly as possible. Do not delay it, because they're not our servants. They are helping us publicly. They're volunteering for it as well. So please make sure that you give them that respect. And while we spoke about conduct, Haja, there's this one reason why I actually wanted to talk about it. Since, first of all, obviously it happens to be Friday. In fact, first of all, since happens to be the ummati of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he set the tone for the rest of the world.
True.
And I don't think that there can be anybody else who's got a better conduct than Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we learn from it. But for me, obviously, we learn from his actions, we learn from his words, we learn from Sahaba, from the stories we've been told by Sahaba, that how he used to behave in different circumstances and conditions. But there was this one movie which have had very amazing impact on me. And ever since then, when I watched that movie, I think that my personality literally changed.
Which one?
So I'm not going to name the movie, but I'm going to name one dialogue and everybody's going to get it. It's the Jadoo Ki Jappi. I think that was a very amazing example of how your conduct can change the reaction of other people, and that's something which you want. Because we do not want to harm other Muslim brothers or probably anybody else with our tongue, with our hands, and we really need to make sure that we are as kind at heart as we are with our personalities, tongues, and our hands.
That's very true. Thank you so much for relating entire, and we have this entire sets of the magic words.
Have you seen that Jadoo Ki Jappi wala?
I think I have seen that concept, yes. So we entire set of the magic words where they can totally change your conduct and behavior towards the other person. So without any further ado, we would like to introduce our guest, who happens to be Imran Sandhu Sahab. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. Jumma Mubarak to you and to everyone out there.
Happens to be a religious scholar, but now he can actually be a fitness expert as well, because he's alhamdulillah been working for it for like last 3 or 4 years now. It's a part of his lifestyle. Every time he's here, he's more fitter, alhamdulillah. It's just that he does not wear fitted clothes, so we were unable to understand it, but every time I'm hugging him, I could feel that, okay, he's getting stronger every single time. So as a religious scholar, sir, today, how important is the conduct of a Muslim?
First of all, thank you for complimenting me over here, and I really appreciate that. Yes, I think fitness at 3 levels should be accomplished by every Muslim. One is the emotional level,
mental,
the physical, and then the physical level, and more importantly, the spiritual level. So this is basically a Muslim. This is a mu'min. Umar radiallahu ta'ala saw a person with the belly coming out, and he said, this is not a belly of a Muslim,
Right.
So and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had no belly coming out, so we this is also a sunnah to keep yourself healthy.
Yeah. So I was just checking whether my belly is out or not.
I don't think so. You need to even check that, because he's so much just such a fitness freak and a regular.
You never know.
Go to a
even that bit of a belly which is just bulging out, it just disturbs you at times. So
what an oxymoron.
I was like, okay, while we're talking about it, so I should rather
So so talking more about the adab, and we talked about how there is a lack of civility in the debate, especially on the social media, and we have seen that people have the power to write anything that they want. So this unbridled concept of the freedom that people nowadays have, and they can go and write anything on the Twitter, on the social media without any fear of accountability. How does this concept relate with the Islamic concept of adab?
Because there's no physical repercussion for that. You write whatever, you might not even see the gentleman again in your life ever.
True.
So how the things have gone global, and then how social media has empowered an individual nowadays, the reach out is very big, and the disguise in this blessing, I would say, is that, blessing in disguise, but this is the opposite. The disguise in the blessing is that you say whatever you want to say. There's a freedom of choice and expression all around the world. It's coming on, but with that, the potential to sin is also increasing on the other side. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I don't say that freedom of expression should not be there. It should be there, but with tarbiyah, with education. We need to educate as well. With power, with strength comes responsibility. The power of social media and the responsibility of people on the social media should also be taken, should be accounted for. There should be some kind of an accountability at every level. Exactly. At the level of we should do our own accountability.
I think that's a better solution, because when it is on to somebody else, other than our parents or siblings,
right,
or our family relatives, if you give this right of accountability to somebody else, they usually misuse it.
The balanced approach, I would say, would be accountability at personal level,
yes,
accountability at family level,
yeah,
accountability at the local government level,
family level,
and accountability at international level as well.
Exactly. I mean, I've been held accountable so many times by my mother that I still remember that while even I was in the 4th semester of my university, I was getting beaten every single day. That's the level of accountability I had at my place.
I think you were not alone in this.
Yeah.
Because I suffered the same fate.
Exactly. But sir, now what I would want you to reflect upon is that, how Quran actually tells us Muslims, what our conduct really needs to be.
If you recite and ponder upon some of the Qurani ayat that talks about adab, that talks about your behavior towards others.
Because Quran tells us about every aspect of life.
Even it also guides about a qawm, a nation, how one nation should act with the other nation. So in Surah Hujurat, if you recite the 11th ayah of Surah Hujurat, that says La yashar qawmun min qawmin, that you do not ridicule one nation should not ridicule the other nation. So this is ridiculous how two nations nowadays can become aggressive upon each other. Yeah. So, and this can have real repercussions. Similarly, Quran, in this ayat it says, La talmizu anfusakum, do not put blames on each other. And
Tohmat na lagao. Bohtan na lagao.
Bohtan na lagao. Ghibat na karo. And what is the difference between ghibat and bohtan?
No.
So the difference between ghibat and bohtan is that a person has a problem with and you talk about him on his back. This is ghibat. And the bohtan is that person does not have a problem with him and you are talking against him. So this is bohtan. Both are haram in Islam. So you can very well see when what goes around comes around. You can see people how they are talking about with upon each other, after each other, on how the backbiting is going on. And the Quran also says, do not call each other with bad names.
True.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry that I have to say it in Urdu, but I think it's a very prevalent culture in Pakistan, chote, munne, teddy, things like that. And I think that these are very disrespectful terms which you can coin onto somebody else. And imagine, you might not even know, for example, if somebody's short, you call them teddy. Do you even know how much pain they're going to feel just because of the fact that they certainly didn't have any control over however they might probably look, or mote, or ganje. And I think that we really need to be very careful about it. And I would want to say it in English as well, because it's either way, you know, whether it's Pakistan, anywhere you go, you know, that's what people do. You know, so imagine calling somebody, hey Baldi, come over here, and things like that. That's literally disrespectful, and you should not do it. First of all, obviously, as a Muslim, being an ummati of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, never go close to that. Please make sure that every time you speak or utter a word, make sure that it's going to be sweet. And there's one more thing, sir, which I would want to add, because we have this culture over here, and I have to say it in Urdu. मैं तो जो कहता हूँ जी मुंह पे कह देता हूँ. You know, so that one thing, that whatever I say it on the face, I do not hide it. Imagine that if you're going to say it onto somebody's face and he will be hurt after your words, what's the point of saying it? Why can't you just absorb it yourself, ignore it, and say, Allah Mia, please give me the strength that I never think about it again. I think that's it. Sort it out.
Yeah, so you know, I was saying, Quran also says, La tanabazu bil alqab. Do not call each other with bad names.
True.
And it says, Bi'sal ismul fusuq ba'da iman. After having iman, it's the worst thing that you can do.
True.
Call other by bad names. You know, calling each other by names that is not his name. You know, we should always refrain from it. Otherwise, animosity is the result.
True.
Otherwise, fasad is the result. So, you know, even in the political arena, we see it over here. We see the talk shows. We see all kinds of, you know, congregations going on at every level. Even religious people are not taking care of this thing.
And sir, there is another example over here. Obviously, our you know, star-studded team. You know, they go everywhere. They perform for Pakistan. You know, Pakistan cricket team. Imagine that people have named players within the team as well. And every time they're in front of the, you know, imagine that, you know, if they're in front of you, they're playing for you guys, making sure that, you know, they're going to bring back a lot of pride. You start calling them out with names, and it's miserable. I'm sorry. And it totally shows the way you were brought up. And you know, it totally shows what values your parents embedded in you.
And Shahzad, obviously you yourself are a celebrity, and there's this celebrity culture on the social media where the lot of people have bad mouthed celebrities, especially in the comment section, and also use foul language.
We have gotten used to of it now.
Yeah, I mean, but that shouldn't be how it should be, right? So, and I do feel that also Muslims, they have lost touch with their roots, with the traditional roots of prophetic era, right? And if they would be in touch with those roots, I don't think so they would display such sort of behavior. So how to correct this fallacy?
I've even seen some of the so-called religious scholars, as they claim to be religious scholars, you know, they are blaming Sahaba. You know, after 1400 years, they are more focused on what they did 1400 years ago. And they're taking negativities out of that, you know, and what they are basing things on is mere history, not the hadith and the Quran. And from those ahadith, which actually tells about some kind of a difference of opinion, some intellectual opinion, some kind of a political difference of opinion amongst the Sahaba, they are using it in a way where they are blowing it out of proportion as well. You know, and they are making parties based on you know, based on those differences of vision as of today. Although the Ummah has come out of those differences of opinion. So I think what we need to do is we need to, as a nation, as a family, as an individual, at all the levels, we need to reflect on that. What should be our lifestyle? A lifestyle is not only, you know, getting your tummy in.
Yeah.
You know, you've got this tummy, this spiritual tummy out as well. You know, the more spiritual a person is, the more spirituality has developed, he is going to think twice. You know, loves in Arabic means you know, it's
delivery.
You know, killing someone with an arrow.
Okay.
You know, so
archery.
Yeah. So what happens when you utter this word out of your mouth? It can
go to hurt.
It can hurt.
Right.
Just like an arrow.
And the last hadith of Bukhari also tells, you know, kalimatan khafifatan ala lisan. Thaqilatan al-mizan, that the attribute of a kalima is it is very light on your tongue and very heavy on the mizan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It can bring lots of repercussions, implications of Yawm al-Qiyamah. One last thing that if you allow me to say is, we must make sure that whatever we utter with the right intention.
True.
If even we are trying to get straightforward, with the right intention, with a very well chosen word, as you are. Allah is watching you. If Allah is watching you, you're not going to say, these alqab and all those things that you do, because it's mentioned in Quran not to do that. So your words, when you are straightforward, should not be derogatory.
True.
Insulting.
True.
And then the way you utter those words, the way
your tone,
your body language, your
dialect,
face expression. So all these things matter at the end of the day, and what goes around comes around. If you'll start getting out of proportion, the society is going to get charged and marginalized. Some people will get marginalized and some people will get charged.
True.
So let's decide as a nation how to talk.
Exactly, and it's really very important. And lately I've been very impressed by people from Japan. I mean, imagine that
really?
right after even losing a match in the FIFA World Cup, they made sure that they're going to clean the entire stadium. It wasn't really a havoc over there. Fans beating each other, because with England and Wales, that's something which broke out right before the match. So they were fighting, and there were a lot of arguments. Imagine Japan. I mean, they are a nation. And every time we've been in conversation with somebody from Japan and the things we get to learn from there, I think they've set a tone of being a very well-cultured and well-mannered nation, and that's something which we really need to do, first of all, as Muslims. And it's, we should be the first ones to set that example, and unfortunately, we have not been. But thank you very much, sir, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation with you. And very quickly, towards the end, just one more thing, and that is that I have mentioned it before. Now imagine, so back in the days, there was this tribe which was thought that they were very wise.
Okay.
So one gentleman came to one of their leaders and said, "Sir, I want to share something with you which your friend has said." And he was like, "Okay, I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
If you answer my 3 questions, I would allow you to tell me whatever my friend has said."
Okay.
So they're like, "Okay." Now see the wisdom of that leader. What he said was that, that information which you're going to share with me, what my friend has said, is it true? He's like, well, I'm a little confused. I don't know whether is it true or not. I said, okay. Oh, never mind. I'll move on to the other question. And I was like, okay, the next question is that this information which you will share with me, is it going to help me in any positive way? Sir, I don't think so. And then the last question was that, this information, when you're going to deliver it to me, do you think that I will have a negative impact on my friendship? He said, yes. And the next thing he said was, get out, because all of these 3 questions, ladies and gentlemen, every time somebody's about to tell you this, I think you really need to ask these 3 questions. Please make sure that you make it. Be mindful. And it takes a lot of time, because, alhamdulillah, I try to do that. I try always make sure that I think before, I speak. And it has taken me a lot of time. It has taken me at least 10, 12 years to be so mindful that every time somebody says, it's like you have trained yourself. And as Muslims, we need to train ourselves to be kind, to be nice, to be helpful.
Maybe that person should have said, get out. You may want to go out.
Yeah, you may want to go out. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But, when all 3 questions go wrong, I think that the only thing you would say is get out.
And so with that, we are heading out on a short break, so stay tuned. Welcome back, and talking about the lifestyle, Shahzad, before going on to the break, we were talking about the spirituality and how it's very much important, especially nowadays when we see there's so much depression on the rise around the world, that we need to have something straight in our lifestyles, right? And the lifestyle means having a healthy lifestyle is a very all-encompassing concept where spirituality is also there, where the emotional spirituality is also there, where the physical fitness is also there. So how do you cultivate a more healthier mind while also having a healthy body? Because I know that you spend a lot of time on your, physical strength, on the physical training. So walk us through your routine.
I think, okay, so I'll take you through my routine, and it's a conscious effort to make sure that you induce it in your lifestyle. Because I might have been that person who was very lazy, didn't go to the gym at all, no workouts, overweight. And everybody goes through it.
Really? You were overweight?
In somewhere in between, I did got overweight as well, because I wasn't going to the gym at all, and so I was in a very different mindset.
Okay.
But I think it was
what prompted you to change?
This wake up call I got. I truly believe that it was from Allah Almighty, because I've been asking for it while I was in that process. I kept on asking Allah Almighty, Allah me please mujhe theek kar de, Allah me please. So, obviously. Right. And then one fine day, I was out there. But what I kept in my mind, which literally played a very instrumental role in my life, was that every time when I went to the gym, or when I was working out, I would tell myself repeatedly, one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. Because there you will see people with big muscles, amazing physiques, running, doing everything they want to do. And I had a physical disadvantage because I had got my back operated, and there were so many other issues. My half foot wasn't working. And then I kept on telling myself, and then literally there was a day when people started coming up to me and were like, "Sir, what are you doing?" I was like, "What happened?" They said, "You're getting so fitter every single day." That was the time when I said, okay, this strategy of telling yourself every single day will actually help you. Because what we do as humans is that we want everything today. आज ही मिल जाए हमें फिटनेस भी मिल जाए, हमें पैसा भी मिल जाए, गाड़ी भी मिल जाए, बंगला भी मिल जाए, औलाद भी मिल जाए, सब मिल जाए. And that's not how it is. Life is a journey. And so then literally what happened was that I trained myself that every time I'm going to lift weights, there's not going to be any other thought which I will have in my brain.
Okay.
And that actually helped me relieve all the stress, sit down in the steam and sauna, have a little conversation with people out there. So that's your time. You dedicate yourself to that time.
Wonderful.
So it's not the time you're dedicating to yourself, you're dedicating yourself to that time. And then you enjoy it. So imagine if you have 2 hours of that luxury of doing whatever you want to do in the gym. I think that works for me.
That's a wonderful transformation that you talked about. And Alhamdulillah, I think we need more people to follow this sort of routine, because obviously, as you talked about, it's a long process, right? So to talk about more about the transformation, about the fitness, we have a wonderful guest in the studio who happens to be Numan Shigri. He's a fitness expert and also an entrepreneur. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting.
Thanks for joining us. It's wonderful to have you over here.
So fitness is about transformation, like Shahzad mentioned his journey, it's about cultivating a healthier mindset and having a strong body. So how do you encapsulate this concept of fitness and transformation?
Well, first of all, it's really an honor to be part of your show and part of PTV. What a great organization. As you rightly mentioned in your intro, that it's not just about the physical fitness.
Right.
It includes, I think there are 3 pillars to your healthy lifestyle and being a healthy person, which is your physical health, your mental health, and then your spiritual health
and emotional health as well, because that's something which World Health Organization says.
Exactly. So, as Shahzad rightly pointed out, the very first thing you should do, you have to have the willpower, the conscious effort
yes.
to actually change your life. That's the very first step you have to take. So, before we get into the details, I think the first question we should be asking ourselves is,
what is health?
What is health? Who is a healthy person, and what defines a healthy weight?
Go ahead, please. Let us know.
I think the health is it doesn't just include your physical health. It is an overall social well-being of a human being. Just because you don't have any disease or any infirmity doesn't mean you're a healthy person. There are some apparent signs There are some visual signs that you can see. You know, if your sleeping patterns are regular, your energy levels are good, you know, your bowel movement, your urinary function is good, your metabolism, your you know, immunity, immune system, your skin, and everything. You know, these are telltale signs. So this is the very first step. You can say, you know, a person is healthy or not. So as I said, there are 3 pillars. There is your physical health, there is your mental health, then it is your spiritual / emotional health. You know, so if you talk about physical health, the very first concept, you know, to understand is the total energy expenditure.
Okay.
You know, or the
how much energy we are utilizing?
Yeah, we're utilizing to function as a human being, which is different for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on the age, gender, your height.
I think I'm on UPS. Very minimum. Very minimum.
No. Looking at your muscles, I think you're.
I mean, for that, obviously, you take in quite a lot of different foods now. But other than if I'm not working out, it's minimal. You know, I do not need a lot of coffee. I do not need a lot of tea. I can go on water as well.
Wonderful.
Because, and there's a reason to it. The reason is that my mother has always made sure in the last
that you eat snanty of your daughters.
In the last 35 years, my mother has always made sure that I never leave my house, all our siblings, without breakfast.
Yeah.
So, you know, good breakfast. Even today, if I am to talk about fitness, I think today I took 3 brown bread pieces, one desi anda, and then there was this honey, and then there was 1 slice of puck cheese. That's it.
Okay.
Is it good?
Yeah, you're doing pretty well, my friend. You're doing pretty well. You know, as I said, you know, it's the requirement for every person is different.
Yeah. So the energy expenditure.
Energy expenditure is different. And I think there are 4 components of energy expenditure. The first one is your resting metabolism rate. Second one, you know, the resting metabolism rate is that you're not doing anything. You're sleeping. You're just sitting, not utilizing any energy. You know, that's the time when you're burning calories or energy. And the second one is the food you're taking in.
True.
You know, the thermic effect of food. To dissolve, to digest, and to absorb in your blood.
So that takes a lot of energy too.
Exactly. Third one is your physical activity. You know, the exercise you're doing, the iron that you've been pumping in the gym. You know, that's or running.
And then the nutrients and micronutrients. How important do you think they are? Because somebody told me that you should take magnesium. I've been taking magnesium lately, and it has actually.
Really?
I don't know. I think it's more of psychological because we cannot gauge the effect.
Okay.
But I took it. I was like, okay, magnesium.
So did you felt any change? Positive change?
I mean, I think you know, there were days usually when I was overworked, I would feel a little lethargic, and it's been lately, alhamdulillah, ever since I've been taking it, I haven't felt any lethargy.
Micronutrients, you know, you actually need it in smaller amounts.
Okay.
Macronutrients, you know, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, you need in bigger amounts, and you know. So I was talking about the total energy. I'm actually want to take it somewhere.
Sure.
And get the catchphrase, you know. So the fourth one is your non-physical activity.
Right.
You know, like you're brushing your teeth, you're thinking, you know, you're just burning some energy. So there are 4 components, right? But the astonishing thing is 70% of the calories that you're burning is when resting metabolism rate. You know, it's through that.
All right.
In other words, it happens when you are doing absolutely nothing, when you're sleeping, or just not doing anything. You know,
so what you're trying to say is, what you're trying to recommend is that it's best that you sleep to burn your calories. Really?
No, it's not. It's not simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, so the really key here is how you can boost your resting metabolism rate.
Okay.
And you know, just to make it like a furnace. You know, it's like the fat is just melting away over a period of time. How the key lies here.
How do we do it when we are even resting? The heart rate's not up. How does that work?
Exactly. So it's got some fundamental things.
Okay, go ahead.
Which requires for you to you know, raise your metabolism. So the first one is your, of course, physical activity.
Okay.
Then is your diet. Then it's your sleep. You know, the 8 to 12 hours of sleep is 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And then you have to be hydrated. You know, drink 8 to 12 glasses of water every day. Avoid smoking as best as you can. I'm trying myself, but you know.
Why do you look at me every time somebody speaks about smoking?
I don't know. Do you feel something?
I do at times. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and you know, so these are the things that you actually can do. You know, all of those things are interlinked. They're mutually inclusive. So if you're doing everything right, you know, exercising. I think the most simple or the easiest thing is to exercise. It's you're not gonna.
I mean, it's good for the motivation, but literally
No,
when you get down
if you
to
think
it,
about it, you know, you're not gonna.
I mean, whenever I think about working out, I feel butterflies. I mean, to be honest, I just get excited and I'm like, okay, workout, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
But only at that particular gym where I go, because otherwise, if I'm away from my gym, I would do it. You know, even if we are staying in a hotel, but does not give me the same vibe.
So let's talk about a lot of women who belongs to the areas, the conservative areas where they don't go out actually, because I mean they don't deem the spaces are very safe out there. How do you recommend a good healthy routine, a fitness routine for them?
The resting metabolism, I think, is going to work for them. It has worked for them.
So you know, for them. So physical fitness, you know, there are 4 types of physical activities or the types you can say. The number one is endurance, you know, or aerobic exercises, you know, cardio, you can say, needs oxygen or it gets your heart pumping. That's endurance training. Then there is strength training. Then there is balance. And then there is flexibility.
I think sit-ups, because with sit-ups I've seen that, you know, that your heart rate literally rises quite a lot.
So if you don't have access to the gym equipment or you can't go out for any social restraints, you can just put in 20-25 minutes of your time for, you know, just doing simple, as you said, you know, sit-ups, push-ups, just or doing chores, you know.
And you know what, in addition to that, I would want to add over here, I think we really need to get out of this concept that they cannot go out. I mean, why can't they go out? Yeah, you know, it's a free country, everybody should go out. I mean, especially when it is for your how you physically are or how you mentally are or how you emotionally are as well.
Shahzad, so walk is deemed to be a low form of the cardio, right? Walking out there.
Walk happens to be the second best form. Number 1 is swimming.
Okay,
yes.
So do you think so everyone have access to the swimming or the brisk walking? I don't think so. I mean, there are a lot of spaces that are really cramped out there.
That's
and
true,
women
Haja.
venturing out of the homes, I don't think so. That's a very healthy option for a lot of women out there, right?
That's literally true and I agree to it. But the very part of it where people do not allow their women to go out, and that too when they want to be physically fit, emotionally and mentally fit, I think that's wrong. That's where they should have their freedom to work out, and there's always a better way of doing things, you know. So women should actually be respectful of the conditions outside, and men at least should give time and space to their women if they want them to be more fitter.
Thank you so much. So Shahzad, what happens if you miss your fitness goals time to time? Because this is happening to me a lot.
I mean, so what happens is obviously number 1, you start to feel guilty a little.
Right.
You know,
and start eating a lot.
And start eating a lot too. You're like, okay, you know, but now when I'm going to go to the gym, I'll burn it, you know, and I'll make sure that, you know, how things are. So very recently, but this is something which was a blessing in disguise. Very recently, I was working, alhamdulillah, and I was traveling in between cities.
Right.
So for 7 or 8 days, I didn't go to the gym.
Okay.
And I felt really bad about myself. And I was like, okay, I need to go. And after 8 days, I didn't even feel like going to the gym. So I was like, okay, what should I do? I was like, should I lose all of that hard work which I put in?
That becomes routine.
Or do I continue with it? So I went back to the gym, and believe me that after 8 days of rest, because I've never had such a longer rest in my gym career.
Okay.
So it felt amazing. You know, I was more stronger because I've rested myself. My muscles were supportive, and you know, whatever I wanted to do, I was on top of my game, and I was like, okay, you know what, after every month I need to take 8 days off.
So Naman, your take on that?
You know, as Shahzad said, you know, when I was talking about resting metabolism, it's important. It's 70% of the energy expended. It's just mind-boggling. And the most contributing factor for your resting metabolism are your muscles, your skeletal muscles.
True.
So when you're saying that you didn't go to gym for 10 days, and then when you restarted, you know, you were feeling awesome, that's another benefit of gaining muscles.
Exactly.
You know, you don't because muscles are so caloric dense that you know, you need more energy for you know, your body is burning to function. Your body is burning more calorie. Another thing that which I think it's really important for everyone to understand is, the insulin sensitivity, and being insulin resistant. So in our society, a lot of people are getting diabetic, pre-diabetic, type 2 diabetes, and it is related to your gaining weight. Okay. And all those sort of things. So your body mass index should be below 25. So body mass index is basically your weight in kilogram.
Yeah, I know.
Divided by your, your height,
exactly.
square of your height in meters.
I don't know whether we should do it on TV or not, but what's your BMI?
I think it's 23 or 24, something like that.
I'm at 17.
Oh, wonderful.
But thank you very much, Noman, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation with you, and for everybody who's out there. People, please make sure that you look after yourselves. Even if you do not feel like looking after yourself for yourself, please make sure that you look after yourself for the people who surround yourself. All right?
Wonderful. And I think, again, like we talked about the transformation or the fitness. Fitness means getting fit in every aspect, right? The emotional, the physical, spiritual a lot, because nowadays I feel that the spiritual aspect is lagging and we need to have that sort of connection. So until next time, it's a goodbye. Allah Hafiz.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jummah Mubarak.